Afternoon as Asdrubal Cabrera leads it off, and the first pitch of the ball game is down low to Cabrera. Again, 38 degrees at game time. Still a little bit cloudy over the ballpark, but they're expecting the temperatures to hit near 45, mid 40s, hopefully 50 by the day is done. We'll have to wait and see, but that doesn't matter. We've got nary a seat available, and there's your forecast for this afternoon. Cabrera looks at a strike, and the count goes to 2-1 on the Indians' leadoff man.
Cabrera must be feeling awfully warm. He's got no sleeves on this afternoon.
Tough guy. Porcello's 2-1 pitch. Make it 2-2 on Cabrera.
Late life on that two-seam fastball. Started at the top of the strike zone. Cabrera gave up on it, and it hit the outside corner.
Rick Porcello, just 21 years of age. Making his first start of the season. Jim Leyland talking before the game today about how the honor is a big one for anyone who starts opening day, but that's just the way it worked out. The Tigers wanted Verlander in game one, Scherzer in game two, and they wanted to push Porcello back to the opener. Pitching in front of the big crowd today. The 2-2 pitch. Right back up the middle. Everett will get there, and his throw is just a little bit tardy. Terrific play by Adam Everett.
With the speed that Cabrera has in running from the left side of the batter's box, I didn't think there was any way that this play would be close. But Everett shows some nice range to his left, does a pirouette, and throws a strike to Cabrera. He made that play close.
Yeah, I'm with you. Much closer than I anticipated it would be. So the leadoff man is on for Cleveland. That'll bring up Grady Sizemore. In the past, we had seen Sizemore lead off for the Cleveland Indians. His new spot in the lineup these days is number 2.
Can't be fooled by the fact that he is batting second. Even when you have some speed on first base, and Cabrera has some speed, you can't get caught in a situation where you're just trying to pump fastballs past Sizemore to give your catcher time to throw Cabrera out. He is lethal on fastballs, and he's healthy this year.
Sizemore last year was limited to just 106 games. He had elbow surgery late in the season, and in fact, I believe played with that injury most of the year.
All year.
So that really limited what he could do, yet he still hit 18 home runs, knocked in 64. He's a tremendous talent, to be sure. He is off to a 4-for-15 start this year. And Porcello's 0-2. Well, Rick Porcello manhandled the Indians last year. He was 3-0 against them with a 1.80 ERA. He really had some good success within the division against the Indians. Big lead at first base for Cabrera. And the 1-2. He got him. He chased out of the strike zone for strike 3.
Pretty good fastball, four-seam fastball, right around the letters. Very difficult pitch for Sizemore to catch up to, and an outstanding pitch with 2 strikes.
Here's the starting lineup for the Indians, courtesy of Honda Bloomfield. Asdrubal Cabrera, Grady Sizemore, and Shin-Soo Choo. You got Hafner, Peralta, and Kearns, and the bottom has Valbuena, Marte, and Redmond. Here is Choo batting in the 3 spot for the Cleveland Indians. 2 for 12 this year. Choo takes outside 1-0.
Choo is off to a slow start, but it's only the month of April, and it's only a few games. Batting just 167, but he was one of their better offensive performers last year, leading their club in home runs with 20.
Yeah, he really was. He knocked in 86. There goes the runner. Here comes the throw from Laird. It's on target, and they got him. Gerald Laird cuts down his first base runner of the season in impressive fashion. They get Cabrera.
Porcello gave him a chance to throw. Even though this pitch was a changeup, Porcello used a slide step. Cabrera got off to not a great jump, but Laird was able to throw the ball right on the bag, as we watched so many times last year.
Well, he threw out 40% of the runners trying to steal last year, and he nails his first this season.
It's really no fluke that Laird throws as well as he throws, or we had a chance to watch him with a career year throwing last year. since the year 2006, no one has been better than Laird. He's thrown out 37%.
Yeah, and that in itself is impressive. And so it's not like, as you mentioned, last year was out of the ordinary. And that is what he brings to this ball club. Tremendous defensive ability and the ability to change a game. He checked his swing, and that'll run the count full now, 3-2. Laird had a little bit of difficulty in Kansas City. He had trouble gripping the ball on a couple of opportunities, and so the Royals stole some bases in that series. There's strike three. Chu is caught looking, and a very good start for Rick Porcello. He strikes out a couple of Indians. We go to the bottom of the first on opening day in the Motor City. Motors. And the Tigers and Indians going at it here this afternoon. Here's the Tigers starting lineup today. Presented by Big Boy. Austin Jackson leads it off in center field, followed by Johnny Damon, and then Maglio Ordonez. Cabrera is at first base. Guillen, then Inge, Laird, Sizemore, and Everett. This is the same starting nine that Jim Leland ran out there on opening day in KC. And Austin Jackson in front of the hometown crowd for the first time, facing David Huff. Jackson, nice start in KC, had 5 hits, knocked in a couple of runs. And really, Rod, probably important for him to get off to that nice start. That way he can settle into this season a little bit quicker.
Start to relax. We knew he was going to be a very good player defensively, but offensively. In the first 3 games in Kansas City, he had quite a few extra base hits.
1-2 on Austin Jackson. Terrific year last year, hit 300 in the Yankees minor league system at AAA Scranton.
This much I do know. He's got a big league name, Austin Jackson.
Yes, he does. Big league speed, big league bat, big league arm. We saw it all in KC. All bundled up as most of the participants are today. Chilly day here in Detroit, but baseball nonetheless. Doesn't matter. It's opening day. Jackson takes a strike call for strike 3, and Huff has his first strikeout of the day. Well, the Bernstein Advantage bring you the scouting report on David Huff. Get the Bernstein Advantage. We go to bat for you.
Well, last year he wasn't very good away from his home ballpark in Cleveland. As a matter of fact, had a 6.18 earned run average, and one of the reasons is that the hitters hit over 400 against him on the very first pitch. But there is some light at the day. He was very good record-wise in day games last year, 7-2.
Johnny Damon will test him now. Damon had a couple of hits in the series against his former team, the Kansas City Royals. A couple of RBIs as well.
Good to see Damon out there walking around. He was limping all afternoon yesterday after fouling a ball off his left knee. He had ice on it after the game and was limping on the plane as well. But he was not going to miss opening day.
Not a chance. The 0-2 misses high. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Damon.
Huff almost has to be perfect. He's not overpowering. Fastball rarely touches 90. Needs to work at the knees on inside part of the plate and outside, and needs to mix in some breaking balls to keep hitters off balance.
He is 25 years old, out of San Diego, California, David Huff.
It's a nice part of the country.
It is. A lot warmer right there, I would imagine, right about now. The 2-2. Swing and a miss, and Damon goes down, and Huff with a terrific start. 2 gone.
Let's take a look at the defenders behind Huff in the ball game this afternoon. You've got Austin Kearns in left, Grady Sizemore in center, Sensu Chu is in right, Peralta, Cabrera, Valbuena, Marte round out the infield. Mike Redmond, the veteran catcher of so many years with the Minnesota Twins, is behind the dish, catching David Huff.
And a healthy Grady Sizemore out there patrolling center field again these days for the Cleveland Indians. We mentioned the elbow surgery he had at the end of last season.
It's a special talent, and they really missed Grady Sizemore last year. Cleveland lost 22 of their last 29 games after he went on the disabled list.
Ordonez hit one of the longest home runs that we've seen at Kauffman Stadium, at least in recent history, when you consider that he hit that ball into the wind yesterday at Kauffman.
He crushed it.
400 feet worth, and there's a base hit to center, and Maglio continues to swing it.
Speaking of crushed it, here comes the ultimate crusher.
And the ultimate crusher got off to a great start in KC. That would be Miguel Cabrera.
It's a fastball on the outside part of the plate. Maglio keeps his hands in nicely, and really Maglio has hit some balls to left field here in the early going of the season. He's hit some balls right back up the middle, and of course we know that he patented that right field swing a couple of years ago.
There's a drive in the air to right center field, hit deep, but there's a lot of room out there, and Sizemore will haul it in for the final out. So the Tigers fail to score. We go to the second on opening day in Detroit. Presented by Scott's Lawn Pro.
Well, he's right at home here at Comerica Park, 8-3 last year, and you brought it up earlier. He was tremendous against the Cleveland Indians, 3-0 with a 1.80 earned run average, and the Tigers would love to see a rookie repeat. Of course, he won 14 games last year at the tender age of 20 years old.
Really impressive, and everybody remembers that game that he pitched against Minnesota, game 163 at the Metrodome to decide the Central last year. You talk about high stakes and pressure packed, and it just did not seem to affect him.
That was the best regular season game I think I'd ever watched.
It was impressive.
It was just it was must-see TV.
Result wasn't good.
No, but what a great game. What a great game.
Travis Hafner leading it off as we play in the second, and Hafner checks his swing.
Well, here's one guy that the Indians really need to step up if they're going to have any type of success this year offensively. They need Travis Hafner to go back to being the Travis Hafner of old. But he's had a couple of years of injuries, and the power numbers, the batting average really just has not been there.
Yeah, he, like Sizemore, missed a good portion of last year, and for Hafner, It was a shoulder problem that kept him on the shelf for about 2 months. And of course, the Indians this year, under the guidance of Manny Acta, who takes over for Eric Wedge, who was there for a long time. Here's the 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Travis Hafner. Whistled foul, back out of play. Talking about Manny Acta, he managed the Washington Nationals for 3 seasons, 07, 08, and 09. He was relieved of his duties midway through the 09 campaign, and he has landed here with Cleveland.
He was a hot commodity in the offseason. As a matter of fact, he was offered the Houston Astros job before taking the Cleveland Indians job. So he was offered both jobs at the same time.
That's belted in the air deep into right center field, way back, and that ball is out of here. It's gone. A home run for Travis Hafner, who puts the Indians on top 1-0. His first home run of 2010.
And there was a time just a short time ago when Hafner was one of the premier sluggers in the game of baseball. Looks like a cut fastball that ran right into Hafner's happy zone. And with that choking up on the bat, short, quick stroke, ball just got into the seats in right field.
That'll bring up Johnny Peralta. Hafner picks up his first homer, first RBI, and it comes in a ballpark that is not known for giving up a lot of home runs, especially in that area, deep right center.
Peralta should be much more comfortable this year after making the switch from shortstop to third base last year. A lot of times when making that switch during the course of the season, you're trying to learn a new position on the fly. If you're not playing well offensively, mentally, you kind of get into a little bit of a funk. And I think that's what happened to Peralta last year.
Well, there was a time that it looked like Andy Marte was going to be their third baseman for a long, long time, but he just could never really hit at this level. He was still on the club and is playing today. That is tapped foul. But at first base. Peralta, 3 for 10 this year. He made that switch to third base about halfway through last season. Here's the 2-2.
Pretty much the same cast of characters that the Cleveland Indians will run out there this year, with the exception of a new manager and coaching staff. Mark Shapiro, their general manager, is hoping that a different voice from Manny Acta will help this team be a little bit more productive. Let's take a look at the Tigers defense presented by Beaumont Hospitals. In the outfield, you've got Damon, you got Jackson, you got Ordonez. In the infield, you've got Inge, Everett, Sizemore, and the big fella Cabrera. Gerald Laird is behind the dish, and by now you know that Rick Porcello is on the mound.
Johnny Damon patrolling left field these days for Detroit. Getting his first home start, home whites, as Porcello misses to Austin Kearns. Kearns, a newcomer to the Cleveland Indians, hit 300 this spring, and the Indians signed him to a minor league contract in January. Here's the 1-0. Rick Porcello goes 6'5", a 200-pounder out of Morristown, New Jersey, a #1 pick of the Tigers, and he just burst onto the scene last year as a rookie. Won 14 games, which topped all American League rookies, and in fact both of these guys starting today were among the leaders. Huff had 11 victories. There's a bouncing ball to second, should be 2. There's one, relay, double play. 4-6-3.
Looks like Sizemore and Everett really starting to get comfortable with the combination that they form at those two positions. They had to learn one another, where they like the feeds, and that's a perfect feed and perfect timing by Everett getting to the bag, meeting the ball, which kept his momentum, carrying him toward first base. Tigers been turning some double plays.
Yeah, Dontrell had what, 3?
3, I believe it was yesterday.
Here's Luis Valbuena. A couple of hits and 8 at bats so far. I mentioned the Indians beat Chicago 2 out of 3 and got into town late last night. They played an extra inning game.
Neither team took BP on the field today, but the Tigers were doing some infield drills and also some outfield drills. The Indians just came out and stretched and got their arms loose, but I'm sure they took some batting practice in the batting tunnels by their clubhouse.
Johnny Damon camps under this one, and that is that for the Indians. They get a run on the home run by Hafner. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. In favor of the Indians on the Travis Hafner home run. It's our pleasure to be welcoming to the booth a native of Detroit who grew up here, Tim Allen, Tim the Tool Man Taylor.
That's right, baby. How you doing?
Pleasure to meet you. How are you, Tim?
Good to see you guys.
How are you?
I should have brought my own headset.
You don't like that?
You've been
It's
ripping
like
on these
vintage. What is this, 1930s? We got Bluetooth look better than this stuff. Where am I going, to Mars? Mission Control. This is like a Tom Hanks film. I hate Tom Hanks.
And that sounded like Buzz Lightyear, too.
It was. To infinity.
I was waiting for it. That's outstanding. What brings you to Detroit? Obviously, opening day is a great event. I know you're enjoying
Opening
the
day,
game, yeah?
got to throw the ball to the vets, which was a great thing for me to do. And I've done some shows at the casino tonight and last night, actually. And I came down actually to find out who brought the Tigers up there. Those big Tigers. What good company do you go and say, yeah, we need Tigers 40 by 60?
You mean the ones at the top of the scoreboard out there in left?
I love them.
You don't like?
I love them. I love the whole thing. I was a big Bridge Stadium fan, old Tiger Stadium, but boy, they put together a great stadium.
So I take it you grew up a Tigers fan?
Big Tigers fan, but I shouldn't say unfortunately because I'm a Lions fan, but they used to play there too. Charlie Sanders was my hero.
Really?
Barney. Oh yeah. I grew up watching the Lions. The odds are they'll win one of these years.
Well, you grew up here in Detroit. You went to Seaholm High School in Birmingham.
Yes,
right?
I did.
Did you?
Yes, I
did. Talk about those days.
I was not a football player. I was a car guy. I was a Woodward man. I was
really?
a guy. Yes, I tested V8s for the car companies on Woodward Avenue. It was a mile stretch there in Woodward.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing against the law, of course, folks. It was always, yes, it was against the law. Horribly against the law. It was wonderful. And then I came down. I saw a couple of World Series down here. When Kirk Gibson was
84.
Yep. Came down here with my buddies that used to write stats all the time. I got all baseball guys.
So you were here for the '68 World Series as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Big time.
Wow, good for you. We're talking with Tim Allen, who was a great Detroiter, obviously, and grew up in this area. You went on to go to college at Western, correct? You're a Bronco.
Why do you bring that?
Well, because David Dabrowski, our president, general manager, went to Western Michigan.
And he got a job.
And a good one. And a good one.
Wow. I went to Central first. Their team sucked. Then I went to Western. Their team sucked. And then I became a Lions fan. And, well, the rest is history, folks.
Good for you.
But my wife is a Steelers fan, and she's here. So at least I've got a team in the family that does well.
Now, do you follow the Tigers?
Yes, follow the Tigers.
Okay, so you knew who Rod and I were before you even got here.
Negative.
Big fans. Oh, man. I followed you and your headsets all over the digital cable.
So how'd the show go last night? You got another show tonight?
Another show tonight. It was a great show last night. It's great being home. The soundboard and the casinos. It's what a different look for Detroit. And I said, I'm a huge fan. I follow this city. I followed it since I was a kid here. And I'm a big fan right now of Dave Bing. And I really think this guy is a guy I think, at least as a kid, I've been waiting for that respects the city and knows what has to happen. And a shout out to that guy. I just hope he and his crew do what they say they're going to do.
Now, you got your start in comedy here in Detroit, didn't you?
At the Comedy Castle. Yes,
really?
In Royal Oak, yeah.
Now, were you funny back then?
I'm going to knock you out. I swear I will knock you out, man. If I could get these headsets off. If I could get, what is this? Come on. Motorola must make something better looking than this.
You just can't get over the headset.
The 3 geeks. Hi, everybody. They sound good, though.
They told me this is going to be a trip. They said that it was going to be a trip.
We got to go to the show.
Oh, yeah. You got good seats, by the way.
We got great seats.
You got great seats for baseball. This is nuts. You should charge for this. Well, you did charge me for this.
We did charge you.
What am I talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Buzz Lightyear.
June 13th or June 12th. June 18th. Sometime in June.
Pick one.
Toy Story 3 will come out, and it's
excellent.
It's unbelievable.
First 2 were outstanding.
Thank you very much. I had very little to do with it other than the voice. Saw a little kid out in the lobby mistreating his parents, so I did a little Buzz Lightyear just out there. The kid's in therapy right now because he said that man just ate Buzz Lightyear.
Nice. Now, do you have people asking you to do the Buzz Lightyear when they see you on the streets?
Yes.
I can imagine. Do you get tired of it?
No, but the point is, it's like seeing Mickey Mouse at the park without the head on. Just the voice coming out of a big, ugly guy like this. Kids are like, oh, God, what's happened to the world?
He's not as buff looking as he used to be.
He's not made of styrene. What's the matter with this guy?
What's your next project? What else you got going now? You got any movies, anything else going on? Other than
starting next week,
Crazy
on the Outside, with the movie I directed and produced, will be out at Target. Target was the big, our partner in that, so that'll be out nationally next week.
You need a couple stand-ins or anything? Mario and I are ready.
We're available.
Oh, I'm thinking about it. I look at you two guys with the headsets, and I'm going, wait a second. That's a handsome bunch of guys there.
Oh, man,
really are handsome guys. Right to Radio Shack and right to work.
He's cold, too. Get him. Is the inning over yet?
Yeah.
Oh, the inning is over. Boy, that's a shame.
Too bad.
Thanks for stopping by.
Too bad, guys. Be well, everybody.
The top of the third, 1-0 in favor of Cleveland on the party we call opening day here in the Motor City, and it is a packed house as you would expect.
Standing room only.
A seat to be had, and we've got some clouds overhead, but it's a great day nonetheless, and hopefully the Tigers get something going offensively here soon and back up Rick Porcello, who allowed just the homer to Travis Hafner in the second. It'll be Marte, Redmond, and Cabrera here in the third, and the first pitch missing inside. Our thanks to Tim Allen, who was in town, the native Detroiter, who's
funny, man.
Stopped on the booth nonstop yucks, isn't he?
Wearing out our headsets, too.
He walked out of the booth and said, you guys are going to be thinking about these headsets the rest of the day, aren't you? Yes, we will, Tim. Marte is 0 for 1 this year. And he looks at a strike. 2-1.
Good fastball right there by Porcello, away from his arm side, firm at 89 miles an hour at the knees. And hitters will not do a lot of damage against a well-located fastball in that area.
3-1.
I was amazed last year at how strong Rick got the second half of the year. The Tigers took a lot of steps to kind of slow him down right before the All-Star break. But then after the All-Star break, he came back and was throwing 95 miles an hour.
Well, and that's a good point. How much of that do you think was due to the fact that Rick Knapp, Jim Leland decided to shut him down a little bit around the All-Star break?
I think they also talked about him throwing more fastballs, too, and establishing his four-seam fastball. And he was able to do that. And he just gained a lot of confidence with that pitch and just started throwing it by some big league hitters. But it also helps to have those secondary pitches that are plus pitches, too. He's got a nice slider. He's got a really good changeup. And he's only 21 years old now.
3-2 pitch is on the ground to third base. Gobbled up by Brandon. Hinge will shoot him down, and one gone. Right now we go to the studio. Mickey York has an update on some programming coming our way right here later tonight. Mick.
The catcher, number 52, Mike Redmond.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is. And there's no time like April in the D. There is no question about that. Here is Redmond, who steps in.
It's a nice pickup by the Cleveland Indians to get Redmond out of Minnesota. Quality backup catcher. Does a very nice job against left-handed pitching and can really handle a pitching staff.
Here comes Sizemore on the slow roller. 2 gone. Solo getting a couple of ground balls.
Also a wise decision by Manny Acta to let Redmond catch this afternoon against the Tigers. He knows the Tigers hitters better than anybody they have down there.
Well, I think Redmond's a good, as you look at the numbers on Manny Acta, a really good example of how you can carve out a nice big league career, not necessarily as a starter, but a guy that can back up.
He has backed up some real good catchers in his career. Started with Charles Johnson way back in the Florida Marlins days. Of course, he backed up the best catcher in baseball, Mauer, the last few years. Pudge Rodriguez 1 year as well in Florida. So backup catching job, nice gig if you can get it.
Cabrera fouls it back out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike on the Cleveland shortstop. Cabrera had an infield hit back in the first inning and then eventually was thrown out trying to steal. Adam Everett made a very fine play on him but couldn't throw him out. 2-1. Well, Porcello's MO is ground balls. He got another one, but that one found a seam and goes into center field.
Hey, fans, be at Comerica Park tomorrow when the Tigers and the Indians play again at 105. The first 10,000 fans receive a Tigers magnet schedule. And don't miss the Year of the Tiger Chinese New Year celebration. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER, or you can simply visit tigers.com.
2-out chance now for Grady Sizemore.
Well, you wonder if Cabrera will try to steal another base. Gerald Laird was able to throw him out in the very first inning when he attempted to steal.
Looked like he was leaning a little bit towards second. Sizemore taking ball 1. Grady struck out of the first.
They've got some speed. Michael Brantley not playing in the game today, but when he is batting ninth, they've got Brantley, they've got Cabrera, and of course Sizemore has the ability to steal a base as well. He was a 30-30 man a couple of years ago.
Of course, these Indians last year struggled through a long season. They finished 65-97, 21.5 games back in the American League Central Division behind the eventual champion Twins. But again, a lot had to do with some of the injuries they sustained. And of course, they traded away over the past couple of years some big time pitching to retool their organization.
Also a real nice bat in Victor Martinez. Switch hitting catchers, hitting 300, driving in 100 runs. Those guys aren't falling off trees.
Cliff Lee, CC Sabathia moving on as well. 2-1 on Sizemore.
Already quite a few pitches by Porcello. He's up to 51. And the ratio really not that good. 29 strikes, 22 balls.
The 2-1. Back up the middle. Everett stumbles a bit, but gets the force, and the side retired. Nothing doing for Cleveland. We played 2.5 here in Detroit. 1-0 Indians.
Part of our duties annually on opening day, talk to some of the folks who are watching the game. Occasionally that involves Red Wings. With the team playing in Columbus tonight, we're left to talk to an old Red Wing. Larry Murphy is alongside. You grew up kind of a Blue Jays fan, yeah?
I've been to a couple of opening days with the Toronto Blue Jays. It's the first time with the Tigers, and it's an event everywhere around the league. And perfect weather in Michigan. It's what is it, high 40s? You would 70s would be horrible. It'd ruin the whole
too
day.
Too warm, don't you think?
It would ruin the whole day.
Now, with your rock star status, can you walk around here unencumbered?
Well, what's interesting, of course, it's all Tigers fans here, but the crossover is incredible. A lot of Wings fans, they want to know how the team's going to do in the playoffs. I've gotten that question all day long, and they're interested. I mean, they're excited. The team's done well lately, so they want to know do they have a good enough team to make the run?
And do they?
I think they do. They're in thick. You can't pick any team in the West to say as the favorite, and I think the Wings they have a good chance as San Jose or Chicago.
Wings against the Blue Jackets tonight on Fox Sports Detroit, at Chicago on Sunday afternoon. Now, if we can only get a Tiger rally going. Mario, Rod, back to you guys.
All right, John, thank you very much. Well, the Red Wings getting healthy at the right time, playing some good hockey down the stretch, so who knows? Maybe another run. A fly ball into right field that's heading toward the seats, and back out of play off the bat of Adam Everett, who bats here in the bottom of the third with one out.
Thought for a moment there Sizemore was going to get his first hit. Nice little shoestring catch in right field by Chu.
I want to mention that Red Wings game tonight is on Fox Sports Detroit Plus this evening. For all of you Wings fans that'll be looking for that game. The 1-1. Everett 2 out of 5 to start the year. A couple of hits in that KC series. Pop in the air, shallow left center field. Austin Kearns to make the play, 2 gone. So to this point, the only Tigers base runner was the single by Ordonez in the first inning.
So far, Huff doing a pretty nice job of mixing his pitches up, occasionally throwing a fastball inside to keep the hitters honest from diving to that outside fastball and the breaking balls, which is pretty much what he wants to throw. And I also brought up the point that Mike Redmond is a real good game caller and knows this Tigers offense real well from the last several years being in Minnesota.
David Huff this spring beat out Carlos Carrasco for the final spot in the Indians rotation. Jackson fouls it back 1-1. He had some pretty good numbers in the minor leagues. In fact, a couple of years ago, he won their Pitcher of the Year award, which was appropriately named the Bob Feller Award back in 2008.
Rapid Robert.
Fouled away. 1-2 on Austin Jackson. Jackson struck out in the first inning, one of 2 strikeouts that Huff picked up in that frame. Now the 1-2 to the second baseman Valbuena, and the Tigers once again go 1-2-3. 3 innings in the books here at Comerica Park. It's 1-0 Cleveland. AT&T trivia question this afternoon. Let's see what we have in store for you today. Who hit 2 home runs for Detroit in Jim Leyland's first game as Tigers manager? That was on April 3rd, 2006. Who hit 2 homers in Leyland's first game as Tigers manager? That's a good question.
I think I have that.
Do you?
I think so.
Shin-Soo Choo leads it off, then Travis Hafner, and then Johnny Peralta.
First pitch changeup to Chu, which is what he'll get a lot of from the Tigers. They all know that he is a very good fastball hitter, especially on the first pitch.
Chu struck out in the first inning. 2-1. You touched on this a little bit in the last half inning, but I guess if there is a little bit of concern, it's the pitch count now starting to roll up for Porcello as he misses again and goes to 3-1.
Tigers bullpen in pretty good shape. All their starters first time around in Kansas City all went at least 5-6 innings. Dontrell yesterday was very good. Had to pitch out of a little bit of traffic a couple of times during the course of the game, but was able to get that ground ball, get a double play when he really needed to do so. It's a nice start for Dontrell yesterday.
3-2 pitch. Hammered toward left field. Damon is on the run to the warning track for the out.
A lot of wind blowing out to left today, and Damon may want to play a little bit deeper. Anything hit up there has got a chance to fly out in that direction. It's a beautiful ballpark.
It sure is.
The field is beautiful, as it always is. Heather Nabosny and her staff, they keep this grass green.
Well, Heather was aided a little bit by some warmer weather this spring, which allowed her to get this field into great shape. But every opening day, it's in tip-top shape. Travis Hafner, the batter.
I was reading Heather's bio. I didn't know last 7 years she kind of has been on the Super Bowl staff that kind of helps manicure whichever field they're playing on. So she's very highly thought of.
It's pretty prestigious.
Yes.
Hafner is responsible for the only run of the game so far, the home run that he hit back in the second. Up Porcello. That's into shallow left field. Damon is camping under this one. 2 gone. A couple of fly ball outs for Porcello. Now Johnny Peralta. One of the things Leland said before the game today that he was happy about in that series against Kansas City is that he was able to get everybody in. His entire bullpen pitched. All of his position players had at least one start and got to see some live pitching before the home opener.
Well, Jim has said that he's going to use everybody on the roster, all 25 men, and it's a good sign when you see your manager work hard to get all the players into a game in the very first series after they've pretty much all played every day in spring training.
There's another fly ball, this one into shallow right for Ordonez, and 3 fly ball outs for Rick Porcello in the 4th inning. We head to the bottom half, still 1-0. Fourth in a 1-0 game. Cleveland on top on the Hafner home run. And Detroit has not been able to do a whole lot against David Huff, the left-hander out of San Diego, California. Damon looks at a ball outside. He'll be followed by Ordonez and then Cabrera. 2, 3, 4 in the Detroit lineup. There's a strike right at the belt. 1-1. Johnny Damon now 2 for 15 to start the year. For all the good things that Damon can do on the field, he has been a very good base stealer in his career. In fact, he is 3rd among active players in stolen bases with 374. And you see some of the other MLB ranks. And it looks like Johnny's starting to grow that beard again.
Changing it up a little bit.
A couple of years ago when he was in Boston.
He had the hair going too with that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Who knows? May get back to that look again. Bouncer to 3rd. Peralta on the backhand. Nice play. Got him by a step.
That is a very nice job by Peralta. Once he gloved this ball, he thought about taking one more step. And had he taken that one more step and not thrown off balance as he's going to do here, Damon would have been safe. Off balance throw across the body, still got enough on the throw to get the out.
Here's Ordonez, and right now he has the only Tigers hit, a single back in the 1st. So that means Maglio now is 8 for 15. after a very good spring. It was good to see Ordonez show up in terrific shape physically. That one apparently got Redmond.
I think it may have gotten him on the backswing. I think Maglio took such a big swing that on the backswing he hit Redmond on the hand, I believe. Take a look at the big swing by Maglio on a changeup. Right there, right off the glove. Very rarely do we ever see Maglio take real big swings like that.
That's true. Maybe even caught some of that bare finger as well, which sticks out on top of the glove. High fly ball on the infield. It's going to head to the shortstop Cabrera and finally nestle into his glove for out number 2. So they finally get Ordonez. And I'll tell you what, David Huff has done a really good job through this lineup already.
He had some decent numbers last year, winning 11 games. However, he did struggle on the road, and apparently Cleveland must have scored a lot of runs for Huff when he was on the mound because his earned run average was over 5 as well. But today, following the leadership of Redmond, he's had really nice command. That's a really good fastball right there at 91 on the black outside. Not a whole lot even Cabrera could do with that.
And he's retired 10 consecutive Tigers. 1 ball, 1 strike on Miguel.
That's a veteran catcher for you. And Redmond got the call from Paul Nart on that first fastball, so he told him to throw one a couple of inches off the outside to see if he could get that call.
David Huff last year became somewhat of a stopper for the Indians. 9 of his 11 wins came after an Indians loss. They finished up 11-8. 3-1.
Well, he is facing Cabrera, and just the way you'd like to face Miguel. That's with the bases empty. Although Miguel is in scoring position as we speak in that batter's box.
The 3-1.
Ooh, good pitch.
He had a rip.
Good pitch. Not afraid to throw that changeup when he's behind in the count. And really, that's the way that Huff has to pitch, because he can't throw a fastball by Cabrera in a 3-1 count.
That'll head back out of play. Well, it certainly is a new look to the rotation for the Indians. I mean, we're gone are the days where you had guys like Cliff Lee and Sabathia. You knew you'd get those guys a couple of times in a series. And we'll see Mitch Talbot tomorrow, and then Jake Westbrook, who returns from injury. He'll be their starter in the final game of the series.
New pitching coach as well, Tim Belcher on the left.
He had himself a nice baseball career. Tim Belcher. Well, that AT&T trivia question, here it is again. Who hit 2 home runs for Detroit in Jim Leland's first game as Tigers manager?
Inge.
April 3rd, 2006. You say Inge? Big Red.
Big Red.
3-1 win over KC. Chris Shelton hit a couple of homers. That is popped up off the bat of Guillen. Shallow right field. And calling is Chu to make the play, and the side is retired. So nothing doing for Detroit. They get a walk. They leave a man. laughing April 16th. Well, back here at Comerica Park, opening day zipping right along as we go to the 5th inning. The Indians on top of the Tigers here, 1-0. A jacketed crowd today. Rick Porcello back to the hill, and he is facing Austin Kearns to lead it off for the Indians. 1 run, 3 hits for Cleveland. No runs, 1 hit for Detroit. Kearns bounced into a double play his first time up, and he fouls off the next pitch, 1-1. Well, Rick going 4+ to this point, allowing just the 1 run, the home run by Hafner. And has picked up 2 strikeouts. And he had a 1-2-3 4th inning. Austin Kearns signed to a minor league contract in January. Had a pretty good spring, hit 300. Inside, 3-1.
Porcello's got a lot of run on that 2-seam fastball to his arm side today. He has missed with several of those pitches to the right-handers inside. That ball's got a lot of late life to it today.
Filled the count up now, 3-2 on Kearns, who last year played with the Washington Nationals, had thumb surgery, which cut his season short.
When he came up with the Cincinnati Reds, he was untouchable.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that was considered a primetime prospect. Spent 5 years with Cincinnati and rolls one to the left side of the infield. Inge made that play look easy.
He's starting to get healthy. Inge has admitted that he probably will not be full strength as far as the knees are concerned until probably June. But he cuts in front of Everett, throws off balance off that right foot. And it's nice to have a big target over at first.
Here's Luis Valbuena. We're talking about Inge and how Jim Leland gave him a day off, or at least did not start him in one of the games against Kansas City, which is something that typically Inge absolutely hates. But until he gets to be 100%, he'll probably deal with it. That's in the shallow right center field. Jackson runs it down.
Another reason why Jim always plays him is he says Inge gets on his nerves when he's on the bench. He says he just bugs me. I said I got to get him on the field. But he's also going to watch him very closely this year, especially having 2 knees surgically repaired in the offseason.
Well, and that's one thing that Leland has been very good at, is mixing and matching and getting his bench players, his role players, opportunities to play to stay sharp. Rayburn played, Kelly played in that series against Kansas City. In fact, they played the same game, and Rayburn played at second, Kelly played at third. Here's Marte. He's 0 for 1 with a ground ball. Porcello's first major league win last year came in Seattle. In the month of April, it was the 20th, and he won his first big league game at the age of 20 and got the old pie in the face after that victory.
And I know you would agree with me, after watching him pitch as well as he did in Seattle that evening, you could tell that he was going to be a really nice pitcher, going to have a really good year.
Best among rookies last year in terms of victories with 14, and that was a pretty good list. 3-2. And he lost him. Ball 4, 2-out walk for Marte. That's his second walk. Well, today's game is available in crystal clear high definition on Fox Sports Detroit HD. It's sponsored by Comcast. This is one ballpark that looks stunning in high definition.
And it also helps when it's 46,000 people in attendance.
This is true. Standing room only today. That'll get away from Laird, advance the runner to second base.
If you're Maglio, you can probably come in a couple of steps from right field as we get a look at this wild pitch. It's a ball down. Laird gets down to block it. The ball kind of rolls up his glove. He couldn't find it. and Marte able to get down to second, but Maglio may be playing a little bit deep in right field with Redmond in the batter's box. Redmond gets a lot of singles in that direction.
Redmond bounced out his first time up. Two 2-0 on Mike Redmond. And a ground ball, fair ball inside the bag at first base. This will get a run in. It rattles around the corner. Redmond headed to second. And the throw is off target. And the Indians have added another run. It's now 2-0. Redmond gets his first RBI and his first hit of the season for Cleveland. That's their fourth hit of the game.
It looked like Redmond basically took that ball right out of the glove of Laird. That's how late he swung. And that's one of the reasons why he hits a lot of balls down in that direction. Really nothing Cabrera could do.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera.
But the walk costly to the number 8 hitter there.
Yes, was the wild pitch. So 2 walks today for Porcello, and one of them has come around to score. Cabrera's been on base twice, couple of singles. But he's behind in the count here, 0-2.
Well, you want to make sure you don't give Cabrera anything too good to hit her on the 0-2 pitch here. You can elevate the fastball in the mid-90s. There's a good chance he might swing right through it. And that's exactly what Laird's calling for, the fastball up.
Wave and a miss, and it works. A strikeout to end the inning. Another run in for Cleveland. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire.
Stand back so everybody can see it. It is, well, it looks like pajamas actually, but it's a full men's suit made out of tiger material. Tell me the origin of this outfit.
Well, my fiance made it for me. We went to Walmart and found the material, and I've had a lot of fun in it.
All right, we're just saying something benefit the home team, which is obviously great news. We saw you in Kansas City wearing the same outfit. How was that received at Kauffman Stadium?
Well, people are a lot friendlier here in Detroit in Kauffman Stadium. I got a few hot dogs and peanuts thrown at me, but it was a lot of fun. Most of the people were great. It was a lot of fun.
please tell me you only wear this to Tiger games and, not to church and the PTA meetings.
Only Tiger games.
All right. And enjoy the rest of the game. It is an outfit, Mario, that you have to see up close to believe. Back to you.
All right, Keats. Actually, I did see it in Kansas City. I met him after the game, and my only hope is that he got a dry clean between then and now. Oh, boy, he does stick out, but great Tiger fan. Well, the Tigers got an infield hit from Brandon Inge, just their second hit of the game. There's Gerald Laird. Tigers down by a pair. There's a strike call. 0-2.
The Indians basically have 3 shortstops in their infield. Valbuena at second can play some shortstop, and of course Peralta broke into the big leagues as a shortstop, so they've got some guys that can really gobble up some ground balls in their infield. They've made some nice plays in this game. Gerald Laird still looking for his first knock of the 2010 season, but I talked to him after the game yesterday, and I told him, if you swing the bat the majority of the season as you did yesterday, you're going to get plenty of hits. He lined out sharply to left and center yesterday, and then he laid down a bunt, and Cayaspo made a nice play on him.
Yeah, his first 2 at bats in KC yesterday was just flat out bad luck. He hit the ball hard, but straight at one of the outfielders. And Laird trying to bounce back from a season in which he hit in the 230s last year. He knows and he feels that he is better than that.
He sure did save a lot of runs, though, last year.
He did, and that's the other part of his game that you have to consider. Ground ball slowly toward third. To second one. Here comes the relay, and not in time. Laird beat it out. Peralta to Valbuena to Marte, but a bit tardy.
Well, it gives you an idea that Laird has some speed. This is a nice feed by Peralta. Took very little time. Valbuena, very little time getting the ball on its way to Marte, the first baseman. But Laird runs well for the position he plays. And another key there for Laird, for those of you watching at home that play baseball, he hit the front part of the bag as he was approaching first base. Sometimes that can get you the call safe versus being called out if you don't hit the front part of the bag.
Well, here is Scott Sizemore, who lined to right field his first time up, still in search of that first big league hit. Sizemore did draw some walks in that series against Cleveland. One of them started that big rally in game 1 on opening day there, that 6-run 7th inning. But it's just not the same as getting that first big league hit, which Scott hopes will come sometime soon, if not right now. Talking to Scott yesterday in Kansas City about his amateur days before he went to college at Virginia Commonwealth. He played on quite a travel team in the Virginia area, which at one time produced a lot of talent that currently is in the big leagues. And he said his travel team included the Upton brothers, included David Wright, and included Ryan Zimmerman. He said, I think we lost 2 games in 2 years.
There's a lot of talent from that area. Verlander, of course, from Virginia area as well.
2-1. Back up the middle into center field. A base hit. Scott Sizemore indeed gets his first major league hit. And that's a keeper. And it'll put Tigers at first and second.
Now let's take a look at the swing here on Lincoln Mercury Exmo. You can see he leads with the bat knob. Great concentration. The head is down. And whistles that ball right past Valbuena, the second baseman. It's nice to get it out of the way. Took a couple of days, but it's nice to get it out of the way for Sizemore.
And it's the third Tigers hit of the game. It's the first time the Tigers have gotten someone in scoring position. Now Adam Everett, the number 9 hitter. Everett fly to left field his first time up. 2 for 6 to start the year for the Tigers shortstop. Fouled straight back 0-2. Gerald Laird, the runner at second base. Scott Sizemore just picked up his first major league hit. He is at first base. Rick Porcello has given up just 2 runs in 5 innings of work, hoping the offense can perk up a little bit here. There's a bouncing ball, base hit into left field. Here comes Laird to third. They're going to stop him there, and the Tigers have loaded him up. 3rd hit of the inning for Detroit.
That's a nice job there defensively by the Cleveland Indians, knowing that Everett doesn't have a whole lot of power to reach the seats. Kearns in left was playing real shallow, which meant that he got to the ball in a hurry. So Gene Lamont had to hold up Gerald Laird. Laird read that ball perfectly, but Kearns not playing very deep.
So now here's the big opportunity for the other rookie in the Tigers lineup, and that's Austin Jackson, who is 0 for 2. The Tigers perhaps a base hit away from tying this game up. Only 1 out. Ball 1.
And you can already see the scouting report on Jackson starting to circulate with a couple of big league clubs. Kansas City Royals, and gave him a steady diet of fastballs that were above the belt buckle. He was able to lay off a few of those, but he also swung and missed at a few of those too. It's going to be important for him to lay off that pitch.
Doesn't take long for that scouting report to circulate, does it?
And of course, the Indians were probably in Chicago yesterday watching the Tigers game. They played a night game last night. Another fastball that's up.
1 ball and 1 strike. Manny Acta, his first season as the manager of the Cleveland Indians. It was quite a run for Eric Wedge, but the Indians decided to go into a different direction this year. Two and 1. Each side now with 4 hits in this game. Tigers have them loaded here in the 5th. Fouled away. Well, to think back to last year in the home opener against Texas, Miguel Cabrera hit a grand slam in that game. Tiger fans trying to help out Austin Jackson here, making some noise. And a ground ball left side, deep in the hole. Tough play. They'll get safe at second base. Everybody is safe, and a run will score. It's 2-1.
Tigers not necessarily tearing the cover off the ball here in the bottom half of the 5th inning, but they will take it any way they can. There was no play here for Cabrera, the shortstop. He was not going to get Jackson, and Everett was running from first. He really didn't have to slide. Although very risky going into the bag and not sliding. Every now and then your momentum will carry you off the bag. I think Jim Leland would rather slide when you have to.
Give Jackson an RBI and make it a 2-1 ball game. Bases stay loaded for Johnny Damon. And we will see what David Huff is made of here. He is facing Damon. Ordonez is on deck, and then if it got that deep, Cabrera.
Yeah, very important here with 1 out for Jackson to get a big lead, get secondary lead. Marte playing well behind him at first base. Should Damon hit something on the ground, Jackson can't allow their middle infielders to turn the double play.
That was a pretty telling stat we just showed there. Johnny Damon career with the bases loaded .399. 6 grand slams in his career.
Johnny Damon is a winner. 5 of the last 6 years he has played in the postseason, winning a couple of world championships. 1 with Boston, 1 with the Yankees. And he was right in the middle of both of them.
Damon 0 for 2 in this game. Strikeout and a ground out. Damon finds a gap here. He might clean the bases with the speed that Jackson has at first base. Shatters his bat, pops it up to second. Infield fly rule called, and there are 2 gone. So Damon is retired. It's going to leave it up to Maglio. And with the bases loaded career, not too shabby himself. 340 with 7 grand slams.
No panic in his game. Very seldom does he strike out. Rare combination of power, hand-eye coordination, uncanny ability to put the ball in play. And most ABs.
Ball 1. Huff was cruising along in this game, but as you mentioned, it's not like the Tigers were actually ripping the cover off the baseball here. They have gotten some bloop hits, some infield hits.
Huff may have to throw a changeup here. That's exactly what he did. When you fall behind a dangerous hitter like Maglio, 1 ball, no strikes, the base is loaded, and the way that Maglio is swinging the bat, you can't throw a fastball by him.
On Ordonez. 8 for 16 to start the year. Prime opportunity here to get the Tigers their first lead of the game. The 2-0. To the left side of the infield, knocked down by Peralta. Goes into the dirt and throws it away. 2 runs will score, maybe 3. Here comes Jackson rounding the bag. He's coming home, and he is safe. Ordonez ends up at second base. And the Tigers have taken the lead.
You can see that coming. Once Peralta did not field the ball cleanly, he had to rush his throw over to first base, but he had more time than he thought. Now take a look at him here. And once he mishandles the baseball, he picks it up and simply has a lot more time, throws off balance. He bounces it over to Marte. Marte, not a first baseman by trade. And how about the speed of Austin Jackson?
Meanwhile, Rick Porcello says thank you very much for all this offense. On a ball that wasn't hit out of the infield, the Tigers get 3 runs.
Well, they're going to walk Cabrera here. At least I would think that they would walk Cabrera here with the base opening 2 outs with the start that he has gotten off to this year, and go after again the right-handed batter. But they're not. At least it looks like they're going to pitch to him.
High fly ball heading back toward the seats in the corner down the right field line. The wind is going to bring it back, and the catch is made by Chu.
That ball almost blew back fair.
Big inning for the Tigers, though. They score 4 times to take the lead. the Romani Eye Institute, the most trusted name in eye care. And by your neighborhood Spartan store. For locations, visit turntospartan.com. Back here at Comerica Park, in fact, a packed house here this afternoon. The Tigers, with a little bit of help from the Indians, have taken a 4-2 lead in this game as we go to the top of the 6th. The Tigers finally giving the hometown crowd something to cheer about. 2-run lead for Rick Porcello as he goes back to the hill. Facing Grady Sizemore, Shin-Soo Choo, and Travis Hafner. 3 of the 4 Tigers runs unearned.
Yeah, this will be the last inning, more than likely, for Porcello. One of the things Jim has done the first 3 starts of the year for Scherzer, Verlander, and Willis, all right around 90 pitches.
Here's the 2-1. That'll get through, a base hit. While we have a moment, let's check into the studio now. We'll send it to Mickey York for an April in the D update. Mickey?
The right fielder, Shin-Soo Choo.
All righty, Mickey, thank you very much. That is going to be it for Rick Porcello. And he will leave. Phil Cote comes charge again. Tigers go to the bullpen. Will step aside with the score. Top 6 here at the ballpark. Rick Porcello is out of the game. 4-2 is our score. Porcello leads after 5+ in this game. Still responsible for the man at first base. And all in all, good numbers for Porcello.
He didn't have the great command here today. He had a tough time commanding that 2-seam fastball. It ran out of the strike zone quite often, but when he needed a big strikeout, he was able to do so. He had 3 of those, and he left with a lead. So he's in line for a win here on opening day at Comerica Park.
It'll be up to the bullpen now to get it for him as Phil Cote checks in. He's the new pitcher for the Tigers. Shin-Soo Choo backs away from a breaking ball. Strike 1.
Good pitch.
Third appearance for Cote. Got into a couple of games in Kansas City. Rolled foul. Of course, Cote last year pitched for the New York Yankees and made 72 appearances. I was talking to him before the game today about that experience, and he said they treated me well, especially for a new guy. And he goes, the media is something you have to get used to there, but if you go to the ballpark every day knowing that the crush will be there, you get used to it. Doesn't make it easier, but you get used to it. Swing and a tip into the glove of Gerald Laird for the strikeout. Good start for Cote.
The designated hitter, Travis Hafner.
Now another left-hander in Travis Hafner. Hafner hit a solo homer off Porcello back in the second. First of the season. Big swing, 0-1. I would imagine, Rob, before this season is done, Coke will appear in probably 70 more games this year with Detroit.
And we will usually see Coke later in games, but Jim is telling everybody in the ballpark how important it is right now for Coke to do exactly as he has done against Chu, and he has to also do the same against Hafner. He has to retire these guys. But usually he'll be that last left-hander out of the bullpen for the Tigers, with Lee and Thomas maybe going earlier.
Jackson measuring this one for the out, 2 gone.
But Jim wants to keep the lead. Not that he doesn't think the other two can do the job. He just felt more comfortable with Coke here going up against Chu and Hafner.
And I think it's a good example of the advantage you can really have as a manager when you have 3 lefties in the bullpen. I mean, a lot of times you'll see teams carry just 1 lefty, and you use that guy in the 6th or 7th inning, you're done.
And because once you get to later in the game, of course, if Sizemore and Chu come up again, then they can bring another left-hander in for those as well. So that's an advantage you have by having so many left-handers in your bullpen.
Here's Peralta. Johnny today with a walk and a fly ball. He is the all-time leading home run hitter for shortstops for the Cleveland Indians. 87 career home runs. Peralta with 11 last season. Strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Tigers trailed 2-0. They got 4 in the 5th inning. And 3 of them came in on the throwing error by Peralta. Runner going. And it's off the glove of Laird all the way to the backstop. So move Sizemore now down to second base.
It was going to be tough for Laird to throw out Sizemore, even had that ball been thrown right down the middle. Grady was going on first movement. And what I mean by first movement, the first thing Coke moves, he's gone. If Coke throws over to first base, then obviously Sizemore gets picked off. But that's a situation where he guessed, and he guessed correctly, which is what most guys do against left-handed pitchers.
Laird had trouble handling that one as well. That is 6 stolen bases against the Tigers already this season. In the air to right field, straight at Maglio, and Ordonez records the final out. So no damage done. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. 4-2.
Coors Light freeze can, courtesy of Travis Hafner, back in the second inning. Solo shot to right field off Rick Porcello. Looked like a cut fastball. And Hafner pulled his hands in nicely, got barrel on the ball. And when he gets barrel on the ball, we know the kind of strength he has. Coors Light freeze cam, always brought to you by your Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Alrighty, the Tigers lead at 4-2 as we head to the bottom of the sixth inning. And here come the Tigers against lefty David Huff. It'll be Carlos Guillen to lead it off, Brandon Inge, and then Gerald Laird.
Huff really has pitched a pretty good game. The Tigers got to him for 4 runs there in the fifth, but they didn't hit very many balls hard off of him.
1 ball, 1 strike.
The air obviously was very costly by the third baseman, Johnny Peralta.
Very costly.
Yeah, but that's what good teams do. They take advantage of the other team's miscues.
Carlos 0 for 2 with a couple of fly balls, trying to get something started here in the sixth inning.
He should get a good fastball to hit here. And bases are empty. 2 balls, 1 strike. Let it rip.
Now 3-1. And there's ball 4. So the leadoff man is on for Detroit. And we remind you that Sunday the Tigers take on the Cleveland Indians at 1:05, and it's kids opening day. All kids 14 and under receive a foam paw. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com.
How about the Tigers with the kids opening day?
Yeah, how about it? Might as well. They're just as important. Here's Brandon Inge. Strike 1 on Brandon. Second walk of the game issued by Huff. The other was to Cabrera. Tigers would like to build on their 4-2 lead here in the sixth. Inge had himself an infield hit and started that 4-run fifth inning for the Tigers. Huff in his minor league days had really good control. In fact, his strikeout to walk ratio in the minors was about 3-1. Walked a couple in this game. He struck out Jackson and Damon to start the game. And those remain his only strikeouts to this point. Driven down the left field line. That's trouble. It's down. It gets to the wall. Guillen rumbling toward third base. They're going to stop him there. It's a double for Brandon Inge. Boy, is he swinging the bat.
Brandon did not get a whole lot of at-bats in spring training because Jim was really watching him closely. He didn't play about the first week of spring training. He probably ended up with about 20 at-bats, and you like to have your regulars get 60. But he got that little two-seam fastball, and he pulled his hands in, able to keep that ball fair. And Gene Lamont wisely holding Guillen up at third with nobody out. Manny Acta is going to play his defense, not all the way in at the cut of the grass, but at a depth where they're going to try to make Guillen make a decision on third should Gerald Laird hit something on the ground.
Laird hit the ball on the ground his last time up, reaching on a fielder's choice. Jamie Wright is warming up in the Cleveland bullpen. Huff in more trouble here in the sixth after cruising through the first 4. Driven high in the air down the left field line. It's going to hook though and go foul.
Go ahead, home run distance.
Gerald's still looking for that first hit this season. He's got that drawn in infield to improve his chances. Gerald hit a few last year, didn't he? How many did he have?
Maybe about 7 or so.
Did he?
Somewhere around there.
Bouncing ball to third. Gobbled up by Peralta. And Laird is out. Runners have to hold. One gone. By the way, vote for your Tigers McDonald's player of the game using your cell phone. Text Tigers followed by space then the player's uniform number to 37338. That's FSDET. See final results postgame during Tigers Live and check your text response for special offers from McDonald's. So with one out, here's Sizemore with the infield still drawn in. Scott picked up his first big league hit back in the fifth, a single to right field.
Laird had 4 home runs last year. I tacked 3 on.
He thanks you for that, too. Here's the 1-0. Rolled it foul.
Huff's got some pretty good movement with his fastball. And he only throws about 88 to 91. And 91's a 4-seam fastball. He won't throw it very often, but what he does have is some really nice late life that runs in on the left-hander's hands with that cut fastball. Everybody's throwing a cut fastball these days.
He popped him up on the infield. This will be a big out.
Those last 2 at-bats are the ones that upset Leland. And those are the ones that in spring training he really tried to get his team to concentrate on. Runner on third, less than 2 outs. You've got to score those runs.
Well, here's Adam Everett. Tigers down to their final shot here in the 6th. And with 2 away, the Indians able to relax their defense. Everett had a single, scored a run in the 5th inning. That's fouled away, 0-1. Tigers today have out hit the Indians 6-5. Huff pitched his college ball at UCLA. In fact, it was a sandwich pick between the first 2 rounds in 06. Out of UCLA, the Indians lost Bobby Howery to the Cubs, so they received that pick in return, and there he is, David Huff. He was called up last May and then went on to roll up 11 wins after that. Missed it inside. 2-1. On the outside corner, 2-2 on Adam Everett.
That's good location right there. And really nothing Everett could do with this pitch. The count's 2-1. He's looking for a fastball, but that's a pitch that's right on the black outside. And you can't do a whole lot of damage with that pitch.
Everett stays alive. Inning opened up with Guillen walking. He is standing at third right now after Inge doubled him to third base. And for his first start of the year, Huff now has crossed the 100 marker. Pitch 101 was just thrown to Everett. Well, Rick Porcello still looking on from the Tigers dugout. He was relieved nicely by Phil Koch, who came on to get 3 outs. The Tigers have got some really steady starting pitching through the first 4 games this year. And again, the 2-2. Rolled foul.
Something else the Tigers will be able to do on most nights. If they do have a lead going into the 7th or 8th inning, they're going to win those games the way that Perry and Zamaya and Valverde can miss some bats. There he is as we speak.
It's popped up behind home plate, back into the seats. Two and two on Adam Everett. In the air to right field. And Shin-Soo Choo ends the inning. So a promising start for the Tigers. They strand two in scoring position. We go to the seventh.
Nine opening days in a row. We had to do some math, so that would take you back to the 70s. Who was your favorite player back then?
Dick McAuliffe.
And do you have any particular memories of Tiger Stadium, and compare it a little bit to Comerica Park?
Yes, Tiger Stadium is where I was born and raised.
It wasn't where you were born, but it might have been where you were raised.
No, it was where I was raised. I lived at Michigan and Livernois, just down the street from Tiger Stadium, and we were able to go on the bus, get on the bus and go to Tiger Stadium for every game or whatever game we felt like it. And that's just where I did. And then in high school, driving down there, and then whatever.
Kind of a cool event, opening day, huh?
Awesome.
All right. Mario, she's wearing the Michigan State jacket. She put it on just for you.
I know she did. I thank you for finding a Spartan out there, Keats. Nice work. How about John scolding the fans out there?
He told them to be on their best behavior.
There he is. John Keating working hard today on opening day to bring you the flavor of Comerica Park. Meanwhile, Phil Koch back to work here in the seventh inning. Tigers lead at 4-2 on opening day. Austin Kearns is 0 for 2. Kearns, Valbuena, and then Marte. And there's a strike, 3-1 on Kearns. Koch came on in the sixth inning after the leadoff single against Porcello. Then he got a strikeout, fly ball. Checked it. He did not go. That is ball 4.
There was some talk once the Tigers acquired Phil Koch that he would compete for one of those spots in the rotation in spring training, but Jim Leland quickly squashed that after spring started.
Joel Zamayo would be ready to go. He's been warming up for a while. Gene Lamont getting on the bat phone.
You can tell it's cold down there. Look at the bullpen coach. Jonesy down there. He's squinting. It's freezing down there today.
And it is a little bit chilly just about every spot in the ballpark. 40 degrees right now. There's Jeff Jones.
Fans all bundled up too. Nothing like opening day in the Motor City.
The 1-0. There's a strike on Valbuena. A couple of fly balls in this one, 0 for 2.
Cleveland has quite a few left-handed bats in their starting lineup, which is going to make it tough on them on occasion when there's a good left-handed pitcher on the mound. A lot of lefties.
Valbuena hit 10 home runs last year in 103 games for the Indians. They made a trade with Seattle to get him. They gave up a pretty good player, though. Franklin Gutierrez has really become an outstanding player for them. One of the better defensive outfielders in the American League now in Seattle. Ooh, look out. He bends him out of the way. 3-1, and Koch now having control issues here in the 7th.
Well, more than likely, if he walks him, Jim will go to the bullpen and bring in Zamaya, and then we'll probably see a pinch hitter for Marte.
There's the strike. Valbuena trying to coach the walk out there, couldn't do it.
He sure was. A lot of managers like to run 3-2, and no matter who the runner, but this would be a risky situation to start Kern from first with Valbuena in the batter's box if you're Manny Acta.
Fouled away.
Down by 2 runs.
It's going to be interesting to see how the Indians play this year under Manny Acta. And it seemed like Eric Wedge was there forever.
Steve Smith, third base coach. Sandy Alomar Jr. is the first base coach.
Inside. He walked him, and so Koch has walked back-to-back hitters here in the 7th. And that's probably going to bring Jim Leland out, and it will. Marte due up. Leland comes out. He'll go to the bullpen. We'll step aside. Pitching change here in Detroit.
Red Wings at Columbus at 7 o'clock on Fox Sports Plus. Pistons at Miami, 7:30 on Fox Sports Detroit. On Saturday, you've got Tigers at Cleveland at 1. And then you've got Pistons at Charlotte at 7 p.m. Sunday, Tigers at Cleveland again. Red Wings at Chicago at 3 on Fox Sports Detroit on Sunday. For complete April in the D telecast schedule, visit for FoxSportsDetroit.com.
Might want to get that DVR all fired up.
Yes, indeed.
Don't miss a minute. Here's the Comerica game summary here this afternoon. Rick Porcello, 5+ innings in this game. Austin Jackson had an RBI single in the 5th, and the Tigers in that 5th inning picked up 4 runs. 3 of them were unearned, courtesy of some sloppy defense by the Indians. And now Joel Zamaya is the new pitcher for the Tigers.
And Joel off to a real good start. Of course, the fastball is blazing at 99 to 100 miles an hour. And he's only pitched 1 2/3 innings, 1 strikeout, hadn't walked anybody.
Andy Marte with 2 men on, and he fouls it away.
How in the world do you get out of bed and just throw 100 miles an hour on your first pitch?
Don't know. It's 40 degrees too. But that is something that Zumaya is blessed with.
He's been working on that curveball. However, if you throw one here, you don't want to hang it to Marte. He's got some power, and he can hit a hanging breaking ball. If you throw it, it's got to be a good one.
Toward left field, moving over is Damon. 1 step into foul territory, so they retire Marte. Now the number 9 hitter, Mike Redmond. Jim Leland directing traffic with his defense in the outfield. They want the outfielders to scoot a little bit toward right, the opposite field.
And we talked about that the last time Redmond was up. You can see all of them moving toward that right field line. Redmond, the last time he was up, was able to hit one right past Cabrera down the first base line for a double and an RBI. That came in the 5th.
Fastball rides in tight. 1-0. Kearns let it off for the walk. He's at second. Valbuena walked. He's at first. Tigers trail just about the entire day until they got 4 in the 5th inning to go ahead. They're trying to hold on to that lead. And a bouncing ball to second. Should be 2. There's 1. Here comes the relay. There's a double play. And Zamaya's fired up as he comes running off the field. 2 for the price of 1, and the Indians are turned away. $7,800. And by Bell Tire, get the best tire price, period. Bell Tire.
Hey fans, you want to stay with us as soon as the game ends. Our coverage continues with Tigers Live here from manager Jim Leland and the players. Plus, we'll break down the game and show you all the highlights. Tigers Live from the Call Sam Studios immediately after the game here on Fox Sports Detroit.
And here is another reminder as well to visit the online shop of the Detroit Tigers at Tigers.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic Tigers merchandise, including clubhouse caps, T-shirts, jerseys, sweatshirts, and yes, a whole lot more. Get your gear straight from the source at the Tigers.com shop.
That gear will come in handy today.
Yes, it will. Well, let's see. I think it's up to 40 degrees, which is not all that bad. It was 38 at game time. And Tigers fans, you know what? Opening day doesn't matter what the weather is. Paul's has got them all fired up.
Paul's doing an electric slide down there.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's getting it too.
There's stuff to do with those boots. Jamie Wright. Is it? Look at this.
She's sliding too. Look at it. Look at it, Mario.
Oh, boy. Well, it's all about having fun.
Yes,
day,
special for sure.
Let's see. Austin Jackson. Scott Sizemore getting a welcome. And the Tigers have themselves a 4-2 lead. Jamie Wright is the new pitcher on now for the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, well-traveled, Jamie Wright. He's had a lot of stops at different places. He's already been in one game. Comes in with no earned run average. Good sinker ball from the height that he throws from when he gets in that right arm slot.
Jackson showing bunt.
We'll see Jackson do some of that this year. It's something that he worked on just about every single day with third base coach Gene Lamont during spring training in the cages and down in Lakeland, Florida.
Well, it's funny because for as much as they tried to work with Curtis Granderson and his bunting to make that a part of his game, I'm not sure that it ever really became a major focus for Curtis.
No, once Curtis stepped in that batter's box, he was looking at getting an extra base hit. And Curtis was more of a doubles and triples homers guy. Jackson may evolve into that guy as well once he matures and gets stronger. But bunting is a tremendous weapon if you can do it and you have the speed to do so.
3-0 on Austin Jackson. And there's your leadoff walk to start things off here in the 7th.
We might see Jackson get his first stolen base of the year.
Tigers up by 2. Would like to lengthen the lead.
Jackson had the green light the last couple of weeks in spring training. Jim wanted to see just what kind of base stealer he was. And the only way that you can do that is you turn a young player loose to see what kind of decisions he makes in game situations. And he made good decisions. Got a big lead. I know that.
Johnny Damon is 0 for 3.
He was very slow to home plate. Redmond's going to go out and talk to him, try to settle him down. And a lot of times catchers in this situation, they'll come out and tell you, don't you worry about the base runner. I've got him. You just make sure you get the ball to me in a timely manner, and I'll do my best to try to throw him out. But I don't want you thinking about Austin Jackson too much over there, especially after he's thrown 5 straight balls.
You know, before that last pitch, Jim Leland was signaling to Gene Lamont. He was giving the bunt signal. He was holding his hands out to Gino. And now Damon went down the third baseline. I don't know if the Tigers are just trying to play some games here or what their plan of attack is here. And there goes the runner. And it's swung on and chopped foul.
Ooh, Johnny should have took that pitch.
That looked like an easy swipe, didn't it?
Well, the first pitch, you could really tell that Wright was very deliberate and slow with his delivery toward home plate. And Brookins at first base has one of the stopwatches in his hand. He knew exactly what the time was, and it was so slow that Jackson could steal the base easy. Might as well take off again.
Jason back again. Jackson last year stole 24. Was caught 4 times. That was at AAA Scranton. The year before that, he stole 19. He has stolen as many as 37 in a minor league season. And there he goes. Damon showing bunt. The throw to second is tardy and a swipe for Austin Jackson.
I think that may have been what Jim Leland was motioning to Gene Lamont to get Johnny Damon to do. And that was almost like that high school play, that little league play where you look like you're going to bunt and you hold the bat in front of the catcher's eyes and you kind of make them stay back. But how easy did he steal this base? It wasn't even close.
No, that's a good sign. That is the first stolen base of the year, not only for Jackson, but for the Tigers as a club. Redmond going to take a slow walk out to the mound to get on the same page with Jamie Wright, who has been in professional baseball a long time, since 1993 when he first broke into the minor leagues. Played with Colorado, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Kansas City, San Francisco.
It's a lot of stops.
And I'm not sure I got all of them either.
It's a lot of suitcases.
I missed Texas. One and two on Damon. Pulled foul down the right field line, back into the seats. Well, Damon 0 for 3 is now 2 for 17 to start the year. Johnny had that big game on opening day, spearheading a Tigers comeback in the win over the Royals. Damon stays alive. Tigers signed him late this winter, almost into spring training. In fact, they had reported to spring training before Damon was signed on February the 23rd. Two and two. Tigers have 6 hits in this game, one more than the Indians. Rick Porcello started, was taken out of the game in the 6th. Another solid effort from a Detroit starter. And the 2-2. Breaking ball, missed it outside. So Damon now has worked the count in his favor. Got the meat coming up. You've got Ordonez, then it would be Cabrera. Nobody out here in the 7th. Chop foul, and Damon making right work. There's the big fella, Miguel Cabrera, waiting his next turn. Three-two pitch is chopped to the second baseman. This will get the runner up. Damon advances Jackson to third base, and one gone.
You can tell every single swing that Johnny Damon took there after Jackson had stolen the base was a swing where he was simply trying to hit a ground ball to second base. There was a situation yesterday after Jackson led off the game with a double. And Damon did not get the job done, did not get him over to third, but today he gets it done.
And congratulations for Damon, awaiting him in the Tigers dugout. That'll bring up Maglio Ordonez now as they pull the infield in. Ball 1 to Mags. It was his ground ball that was thrown away by Peralta in the 5th inning, which scored 3 runs. And it remains the biggest play of this game. Driven in the air, deep right center field. That ball is way back, and that ball is up against the wall. Another run will score. Jackson comes in. Maglio goes to second. It's a double. It's an RBI, and it's 5-2 Detroit.
Maglio is picking up this year right where he left off at the end of last season, where there was no hitter in the American League that was doing the damage that Mags was doing. He got a fastball at the top of the strike zone that looked like it was running inside on him and somehow pulled his hands in. And that ball short hopped the scoreboard in right center field. What a picture perfect swing by Maglio, courtesy of Lincoln Mercury Exmo.
That's his second RBI of the year. Ordonez has 2 more hits today. What a start it has been. Now Cabrera backs away 1-0. Tigers have their 7th hit and a 5-2 lead. Well, how big would it be this year if Cabrera starts to get that help that many anticipated he would have last year with Ordonez as a 3-4 combination? This could be pretty lethal if this keeps up.
Well, he'll be hitting with a lot of runners in scoring position. He's already driven in 100 runs every single year he has been in the big leagues, and he will do it again.
The 1-1 hit the other way right at the first baseman Marte. So move the runner to third now with 2 outs. And while we have a moment, I got a note yesterday from former Tiger Dave Bergman, who wanted to send along some well wishes to a young Tigers fan, Rodney. Joel Zito, who is currently in the hospital right now, and his father Ken coaches Federation ball here in the Detroit area. And Joel, we're thinking about you and your entire family. And Dave Bergman wanted to send along his well wishes, and I know we do as well.
Absolutely.
So get well, Joel. And to the Zito family, we are thinking about you today here on opening day. Here's Carlos Guillen with 2 outs. Ball 1. And we're also thinking about Mr. Harwell. Ernie Harwell, opening day in Detroit. All about Ernie.
We love you, Ernie. You know he's at home watching.
And we miss Mr. Harwell and wish him well, without question.
Nice round of applause for the sun peeking out.
It's a high fly ball. Shallow center field. Largest cheer of the day for the Sun. And that is that for Detroit. But the Tigers get another run. 7 in the books on opening day. It's 5-2 Detroit. Tigers lead it by a score of 5-2. And don't forget, our next April in the D Tigers telecast is tomorrow. Middle game in this series against the Indians. Coverage begins with Tigers Live at 12:30. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire tomorrow afternoon on Fox Sports Detroit and in high def on Fox Sports Detroit High Definition. And there's your starting pitcher for the Tigers tomorrow, all bundled up, Jeremy Bonderman. He'll get his first call of the season.
First time Bondo has been in the dugout. He had to serve with a 3-game suspension.
That is correct. That's in the center field for Jackson, and 1 gone.
What was that suspension for? Was that for hitting Delman Young late last year?
That was the Delman Young situation. Yep. And it didn't Delman start yelling at his catcher?
His pitcher.
His pitcher, yeah.
He was upset at Maharis, I believe.
Right, it was Maharis. New left fielder is Don Kelly. He replaces Johnny Damon.
How about the job Zamaya did back there in the 7th inning? Runners on first and second, nobody out. And he gets the fly out, and then he gets a key 4-6-3 double play.
Huge. And really, the bullpen has done some very good work early on here this season.
Well, Joel is one of our favorites. Anytime he comes into the ball game, Comcast just seems to show up.
Off speed that time, 1-1. He's the poster boy for Comcast.
Yes, he is. 100 miles an hour. And that was the first fastball that he threw. 79 with a curveball. 21-mile-per-hour differential in speeds.
Try to hold up. Looked like he went. They will appeal. Yep. Tony Randazzo said he went around. 1-2.
When Joel is on the mound, if you're Sizemore, and Sizemore is a good fastball hitter, you don't have a whole lot of time to determine whether that's going to be a strike or a ball. And you will see a lot of guys check swing on pitchers that throw as hard as Joel does.
Fastball at triple digits, just missed.
Yeah, Joel missed his target there. Laird wanted that ball up, but Joel threw it down. But sometimes it really doesn't matter when you're throwing 100 miles an hour. See if he wants it up again. No.
Three and two. Grady Sizemore 1 for 3, had himself a really good spring, hit .364. We talked about the elbow surgery he had last year for Cleveland.
Also had groin surgery too, I believe. A couple surgeries for Grady in the offseason.
That's not good. 3-2 pitch is drilled deep into right field. Maglio is on the move. He's going to turn on it. It's off the wall. Extra bases for Sizemore. Jackson digs it up. Sizemore takes the turn. He's coming to third. And here's the relay, not in time. Triple for Grady Sizemore.
When you give a good hitter like Sizemore as many looks at the fastball as Joel gave him, especially with a 3-2 count and the Tigers being up by 3, and you know you're going to get that fastball, and basically just a short, quick, compact swing by Grady that hit up right off the gate in the outfield.
1-out-3 bagger, and here is Shin-Soo Choo. You know, when Scott Sizemore took that cutoff throw there and Grady Sizemore was headed to third, it occurred to me that this game has 2 Sizemores and 2 Cabreras. And I don't know if that's ever happened before in a game. 1-0 on Choo. I don't think we've ever had 2 Choos, though.
No.
It's pretty safe, isn't it? Shin-Soo is 0 for 3 in this game. Unless you count the big league chew gum that you find on the bench at times. The 1-1 is outside. 2 balls, 1 strike.
And Zoom needs to calm down.
Well, the Indians coming up with some of their better hitters. They've got Chu right now. They got Hafner waiting on deck. So here in the 8th, the Indians trying to put together a rally here. Tigers lead 5-2. Fouled away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Chu is a guy that has played all 3 outfield positions for the Indians, mainly right field, and he had himself a very good spring as well. He nearly hit 400 this spring, 393. Not bad.
He's a good player. He can steal a base. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark. He plays well defensively, and he has one of your better throwing arms in the American League.
Yeah, I think somewhat of an underrated player. He hit 300 last year. Full count on Shin-Soo Choo. Fouled away again. Samaya came in with the heat on 3-2. Big fella getting loose again. Jose Valverde, and Ryan Perry is also up in the Detroit bullpen. Perry just picked up a baseball.
I think Jim realizing that Zumaya might need some help to get out of the 8th inning, and I don't think he wanted to use Perry in that situation.
He went around, strike 3, and Chu doesn't like it. He waved his hands at Tony Randazzo and still barking as he walks away.
It looked like to me from up here he went. I mean, we'll get a look at a replay here, but it looked like a pretty good call by Randazzo.
I agree. Let's see.
Well, he went too far for me. Hands are way in front of the body. He tried to check it by bringing the bat head back, but sometimes it's the intent that the umpires look at, the aggression of the hitter.
Chu is still barking.
Yeah, I've never seen Chu like that.
No. Well, he's out. They're not going to change that. 2 gone. Sizemore remains at 3rd. Here's Hafner. It was Hafner that put the Indians on the board back in the 2nd with his first homer of the year, and since then is flat out a couple of times.
I guess Chu was chewing out
Yes,
Tony Randazzo.
Yes, he was. 0-1 on Hafner. Popped him up. Left side of the infield. So the grass goes in. Side retired. So Zumaya gets the job done. He sidesteps a triple. Some of the sights of opening day here at Comerica Park as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. So far, so good for the home team. They lead Cleveland 5-2. And Brandon Inge will lead things off here in the bottom of the 8th. Tigers have 7 hits. The Indians have 6 today. Brandon looks at a hook that misses inside.
Brandon off to a very nice start in 2010. Several extra base hits. A couple in Kansas City. One more double here today. Defensively playing well, moving well.
Jim Leland said before the game today that he thinks Inge is swinging as well, if not better, than he has ever seen him swing. And I told Brandon that today, and he said, you know, a couple of my teammates have told me the same thing.
So we observed that yesterday with a couple of those swings that he took to right center field. He's got a solid base hit up the middle. Got him a hanging breaking balls last time up. He whistled that one down the left field line. You know, sometimes when you are in a situation, nice play here by Valbuena. Ooh, nice play by Valbuena. But sometimes, Mario, when you're not 100%, and Brandon knows his knees aren't quite 100% yet, you don't try to do too much. Right? You just kind of relax and you just kind of let your natural ability take over versus feeling good and being 100% and trying to generate a lot of power. He's not trying to do that right now.
Well, here's another thing to consider. He didn't start swinging the bat in spring training until midway through. And he says usually that's when your timing is the best, about midway through camp, or at least it is for him. Well, if you back that up 2 weeks, all of a sudden his timing is at its best opening day.
Yep.
So that may be into play, too. Missing the first couple of weeks may have helped him out a bit.
It's a great point because most players, they get into a situation in spring training where they're feeling good. Then they're ready to go. The position players are ready to go start the season, but you got 10 more days of spring to go because you need that to stretch your pitchers out.
Well, whatever it is, it's been a good start for Inge.
And Jim, you can see him kind of motioning what Laird is doing up in that batter's box, kind of pulling off the baseball. Leland very much into the game, isn't he?
He sure is. We were talking about before the game that he's just walking all over the place. A lot of nervous energy.
Oh, he does. Game face on. This much the Tigers know. They know the importance of every single game. You win as many as you can because they saw that last year, having to play that one-game playoff.
That ball's hit pretty well, but Chu is going to have room out there. Well, you can always say, had the Tigers found a way to scratch another win across somewhere along the course of the season, that they wouldn't have needed to play that final game of the year, 163.
Yeah, you can't win a pennant in April, but you can sure lose one.
Here is Scott Sizemore. Took care of his first big league hit, a single back in the fifth, part of that 4-run rally for Detroit. Tigers added another in the seventh, and an RBI double by Ordonez, who's having another nice game. 2 more hits. One ball, one strike on Sizemore. Scott getting a chance to play in front of the hometown crowd for the first time. Tigers minor league player of the year, and a lot was put on his shoulders along with Jackson, and those two have kind of bonded because of that, breaking into the big leagues at the same time. A lot has been made about the players they will replace. In the air to center. On the move is Sizemore, so Sizemore to Sizemore to end the inning. And that's all for the Tigers. We go to the ninth. It is 5-2 Detroit. Last call for the Cleveland Indians as we go to the top of the ninth inning. The Tigers have a 5-2 lead here on opening day in front of a huge crowd at the ballpark. And we remind you that We're in the home stretch for the 2010 census. It's not too late. Fill out and mail back your census form today. 3 more outs to get for the Tigers, and the big crowd can go home happy. And in charge of getting those 3 outs, Mr. Valverde.
He has been in every game so far. And for the Tigers, looking for his first save, however.
Johnny Peralta, the first man to face him here in the 9th. First pitch inside, 1-0. 5 runs, 7 Tigers hits, 2 runs, 6 Indians hits.
And Valverde, when standing on the mound, like so many pitchers that have that lethal split-fingered fastball or the forkball, they hold it in their hand. That way they don't have to try to reach into their glove to get the grip.
Peralta is 0 for 2 with a couple of fly balls. He has also walked in this game, and he fouls it off 1-2. Well, it's always good to give the hometown crowd on opening day a good show, and the Tigers got the offense going in the 5th inning with a 4-run frame.
I know the Tigers really don't want to make a habit of it, but it's kind of been nice. The 4 games they've played, I think they've had to come from behind in all those games at some point in time.
Yeah, the skipper was talking about that before the game and saying, you know, it was nice to go into Kansas City and win 2 out of 3 there. However, if you think about it, we could do nothing really against their starting pitching. We had to get to their bullpen.
That much is true. And really, they didn't beat up on Huff all that bad here today.
No. He was the victim of some poor defense. Checked it, and he went.
That's that forkball. What a pitch it is for Valverde. Mid-90s fastball and a devastating forkball. Look at the action on this pitch. Bottom falls out of it. Nice job by Laird to get down and not only block it, but glove it cleanly.
Valverde was an all-star with the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2007.
He was groomed as a closer from the time he started professional baseball, which is not always the case. I mean, a lot of times there'll be a starting pitcher, and then the organization will kind of think that they would be better as a closer, and then they move the starter to a closing role. But he started his professional career as a closer.
Austin Kearns, the batter. 2-0 the count.
He throws that fastball like he's throwing a dart, doesn't he? Doesn't have that full arm swing. It's kind of like he short arms the ball.
Hardest throwing dart thrower I've seen.
That's true.
Valverde, a big fella. 6'4", 254 out of San Pedro de Macorís. Two and one. Slings the next pitch home, and it's fouled back out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It gives you an idea of the explosion that Valverde has on his fastball. Kearns was in a fastball count. 2 balls and 1 strike, and is a good fastball hitter, but he was late on that offering from Valverde.
I mentioned that he's appeared in all 4 ball games now. His high water mark was a couple of years ago when he appeared in 74 games with Houston and saved 44. Fouled away. He takes over for Fernando Rodney, who has moved on to the West Coast to play with the Angels. Tigers signing Valverde to a 2-year deal.
Fernando Rodney in Hollywood.
Is that a match made in heaven? Probably not. Fernando's low key. The 2-2.
Think Fernando got him a surfboard?
No, I don't think so. No, he's not the surfing kind.
Hanging out on Laguna Beach.
Now, he may be hanging out at the beach, but he's going to be low profile. Maybe under one of those umbrellas. 2-2 on Kearns. Could you see Rodney surfing? That is one visual right there.
Ooh.
Missed it 3-2.
Valverde thought he had it. He was getting ready to do his dance.
Valbuena would be next. Tigers trying to put the finishing touches here. On an opening day victory, they need 2 more outs. Fouled away. Big crowd here today of better than 45,000 fans. Here at the ballpark, they're cheering the sun again. It has made a couple of appearances.
Last time we mentioned Ernie Harwell's name and the sun came out.
No coincidence there. The 3-2 is back up the middle and into center field. Base hit.
Good at bat by Kearns. A real good at bat.
So he keeps hope alive now for the Indians. 1 on, 1 out. And here's Valbuena. Had a base on balls his last time up in the 7th. 0 for 2 otherwise. The Tigers today have gone with Porcello, Koch, Zumaya, and now Valverde. Strike 1. Off speed, missing outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Trying to keep warm. Got the heaters going in the Tigers dugout. Those come in handy in the month of April. So was that blanket.
Snuggie.
Not a fan of the hat, though. Snuggie. There's a strike. Did you see they set the world record in Anaheim the other night for Snuggies?
I saw that.
Over 40,000 Snuggies. It was Hideki Matsui Snuggie night. Here, nothing but Tigers jackets, caps,
scarves, all bundled up.
The 1-2 is on the ground to second base. Could be 2. Sizemore. Everett. Relay. Tigers victory. An opening day win over the Cleveland Indians 5-2.
These Tigers can turn some double plays. What a feed by Sizemore to Everett.
Three double plays today turned by the Tigers. They turned 3 yesterday. Valverde celebrates, and the Tigers get a win on opening day. We'll be back with much more coverage from Comerica Park right after this.